Mustafa Tameez is our guest, former consultant with the Department of Homeland Security, and also a Democratic strategist. Mr. Tameez, let's talk for a minute about this cabinet. What are you hearing so far beyond the Steve Bannon banter about who Donald Trump might pick for his cabinet?
Well, we also saw at a Wall Street Journal interview and a forum where Rudolph Giuliani talked about that he is not going to be in the running for the Attorney General, but he is very interested in being the Secretary of State. So that was a new revelation that just came out yesterday. We also saw that the Trump children are now on the transition team. And so there was a story this morning that got released that there is a effort to try to get them security clearance so they can potentially serve as part of the national security team, which concerns many people.
And what is that the basis for that concern? I mean, clearly he wasn't considering putting them in the administration, but would they just simply need security clearances to be on the transition team?
No, this clearance was post the transition team, that they are serving on the transition team, but this request was to see if they could get clearance to possibly serve as national security advisors. And Mr. Trump, when he ran for office, he said that he would create a blind trust and his children would run the family business. So if there's a sense that the children will be part of the administration in some way, that really begins to be a problem.
I think it's easy to try to fit people into your pre-existing view of what role they would take. I guess I didn't envision Rudy Giuliani as Secretary of State. I envisioned him as Attorney General. And you would think somebody like John Bolton, although to the left he's been rather controversial, a bit of a hardliner in the past, might have been a better fit for that job.
Well, John Bolton certainly has more of a history in terms of, he was a former UN ambassador, so he would have a better fit. But John Bolton is also known as someone who is at a hair trigger in terms of going to war. And Donald Trump has said that America should maybe retreat and not be involved in nation building or going to war overseas. So, and John Bolton to this day says that going to Iraq was a good thing, and Donald Trump has said that hasn't. So they don't necessarily mix from a foreign policy standpoint. But Rudolph Giuliani, when you think of what a diplomat should be, Rudy doesn't really fit that temperament either.
We're talking to Mustafa Tameez, who's used to be with the consultant for the Department of Homeland Security. So let's talk about like Secretary of Defense. I thought I heard Jeff Sessions possibly mentioned for that. Have you heard other names thrown around?
Yeah, Jeff Sessions is in kind of a lead contender. And Sessions, has been in the United States Congress for many years, a credible name, a credible voice, a strong supporter of Donald Trump. And looks like, there's not a whole lot of other names floating around. So it could be the Jeff Sessions heading to that spot. Yeah,
and what about DHS for that matter?
Well, some had floated Rudy Giuliani's name for the DHS post. The other name that's being floated out there is Mike McCall, who's the chair of the Homeland Security Committee on the House of Representatives. And McCall is also someone who's a credible person, who's knowledgeable about the Department of Homeland Security, is an up-and-comer in the Republican Party, and would likely make a good pick.
And I have to mention Chris Christie's name. I said yesterday on my show, I thought he kind of dropped off the radar a little bit, but there are still people who think he's being considered for maybe Attorney General or another position like that.
Well, I think that he is still in the mix. What the challenge that Chris Christie faces is potential legal troubles. One of his two top deputies have been indicted on the Bridgegate case. They seem to be talking to prosecutors and implicated Governor Christie in that case. And so he might be facing prosecution, and in that uncertainty, it seemed like it'd be difficult to appoint him to something, especially to Attorney General position, while he's being investigated.
Mustafa Tameez, listen, I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Yep, have a great day.